Everybody. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Is anybody here for the first time? Unmute yourself. Hi, Tony. Come on in. Unmute yourself. Tell us who you are and where you are.
Tony Chevalier, and I am in Michigan.
Michigan. Wonderful.
Yeah,
How did you hear about us?
just part of Casey's website, and so I'm on the text and email list for Casey now,
Wonderful.
which I find very beneficial. I've been attending some masterminds that Eva hosts on every other Monday.
Yep.
So just trying to connect with different people and get dialed in.
Well, wonderful. We're glad you're here. We're going on 4 years. So come on in and grab a cup of coffee. It's really casual. Come as you are. And we've got a lot of people coming in this morning, which is great. Anybody else on here for the first time or hasn't been here in a while, or just anybody wants to jump in and say good morning?
Good morning.
Hey, oh, Samia, hey, how are you?
Right?
Good to see you.
Yeah. Well, it's getting tougher. A lot of conflicts
At six
time-wise.
at 6 a.m. Your time.
Yep.
You are busy, busy, busy. And we talk about getting in the right rooms. You reminded us on Jeans Generals this past Monday. Not only were you in Cabo, but you were in South Africa.
Mhm.
You want to tell us just a little bit about that, what it was like?
Sure. Wasn't planning on speaking this
That's
morning.
okay. That's how we are here.
Um, well, I am a global real estate advisor, and you can't be a global real estate advisor if you're not global. And I know my heritage is global, but connecting with people, especially eXp people all over the world and other realtors is important because a lot of our clients are looking elsewhere. They want to invest in other countries. There are great opportunities in South Africa and incredible opportunities with amazing return on investments. I ran into a woman from Morgan Stanley at the airport. She was so excited that we're in South Africa because she wants to invest, but wants to
Hmm.
be with a US based company that she can trust. So I thought that was interesting. Not all US based companies you can trust, but uh, make sure you check everybody's pedigree. But it was a good reminder of why I'm doing this. I want to be able to put my clients in the right hands.
Hmm.
Also for attraction, co-sponsoring with Liz Nanell is going to be an opportunity, and I already gave her a lead. So um, expanding your attraction, expanding your knowledge, and doing more for your clients. I was in Barcelona and Lisbon,
You,
and I'm sorry I missed Dubai the 2 years ago, but last year I was in Barcelona and Lisbon. And our leadership was there, and they had a big black tie event in Lisbon to launch luxury in Portugal. So, the opportunities are there. You can be much closer to leadership when you travel because it's a much smaller group, but also it's more intimate. So you make those relationships uh, that you can't do otherwise. I mean, I met some of these people at eXpCon in the international booth. I made an effort to be there in Miami, my first Miami, and then you see the same people over in other venues, and you build relationships, and that's what it's all about. Our business is all about relationships.
absolutely. You said that so well. Thank you for sharing. So when you're looking locally, and we've got regional rallies that have just been kicked off that you can go to. We've got the build events we can go to. There's still Paris coming up. And of course, we've got
I'll
Utah
be there.
coming up in October for eXpCon. And if you're ever wondering where I am, I do events all over the country. Um, take your family on a little New England vacation. Eva's hosting a great event in New York. I'm doing an event in New Hampshire. You know,
Cinco de Mayo for Eva's.
yes, that is. Is that a definite date now, Eva? Is that confirmed?
May 5th.
May 5th.
Yeah, we haven't sent out invites yet, but we're in the process. Should be very soon. Actually, if I could throw my 2 cents in, I'm
Yep.
actually going to be on Lizna's. Lizna has a Wednesday call,
Yep. You'll be
and
there today.
I'm the speaker
You're
today.
the speaker.
Yeah, she asked me to do the talk that I did in Cabo.
When is
One,
that? When is that, Eva? I want to get on that.
It's
It's
at
today at
it's
noon.
today at 9 Pacific.
Right.
and
Noon.
Eva, you and Misty will be invited as soon as you can get on my calendar to do your talks that you did in Cabo.
Oh, cool.
So,
In New Hampshire?
well, we're talking about New Hampshire, yes, but I'd
Oh,
also,
you mean this? That's
yes, both.
either
But we
way.
already talked to you about New Hampshire. So,
I
um,
also
Yeah, I
got
was
to
supposed
meet
to follow up.
Annie if in person in Cabo. Just never know who you're gonna meet. And Eva, right?
Yeah, I was sad not to be in South Africa. It was on my list, but I had to nix it next year.
Well, Scottsdale27.com, write that down. Scottsdale27.com is where you order your tickets for the next Cabo event.
Yeah,
But it's in Scottsdale in April.
yes.
So make sure to, I'll put that in the
I
in the
missed
chat.
the early bird. I can't believe it.
They might be offering specials, you
They
know.
still, I did it just 3 or 4 days ago and got the early bird.
So we've got such an amazing Zoom today. I mean, I think all of our Zooms are amazing, but um, friendships come out of these meetings. You see people for months and years at a time, and then you get to meet people in person, and you never know how they are going to show up in your life. And boy, Lisa Kane got more than what she bargained for, her and Misty, when they said, "Oh, let's hang out with Peggy," because Peggy got sick. And I'm happy to say that yesterday was literally the first day, 2 weeks of bronchitis and whatever else I got in Cabo. But I'm back up and running, and I didn't even know what day it was. And I realized, oh my God, it's Tuesday, and I don't have a speaker, and that's not usually how I roll. So I tapped on Lisa's shoulder and I said, "Lisa, you are this amazing expert behind the scenes at eXp that I don't think people know the knowledge that you have. You've been a managing broker, you have been a VP of growth in the area, you run at a very high level with land. And, would you please come on and be my guest speaker tomorrow?" And of course, she said yes. And I thought we were just going to kind of sit around and have a conversation. And she sends me this text and says, "Can we jump on Zoom at, like, I don't know, 6 a.m. or whatever she wanted to get on real early this morning so she could do a slide presentation?" And I thought, wow, this is a person who not only is showing up to speak, but put together a slide presentation. So I'm super excited to introduce you to one of my new BFFs, along with Misty, who took great care of me in Cabo and who is such an asset to our group, guys. The people that come on here, you see their faces. I say this all the time. You got to do a deep dive and find out who's in our circle here.
So true, right? Uh-oh, did you freeze, Peggy?
I
Did
think she
Peggy freeze?
froze.
I was like, is that the cue? Oh, let's see. Let's give her a second to come back to us. At least she froze with a good smile, guys. Right? Let's just
I'd go ahead
acknowledge.
and kick off, Lisa. Go ahead and kick off.
Okay, right. All right. Well, hi everyone. Good morning. I have to be totally honest. When Peggy called yesterday and was, wanted me to talk today, and we were chatting through it, I felt fine with it until I saw her post the little meeting notice, and it was, saying that I'm going to talk about scalings and systems and all this stuff. And I thought, well, this should be interesting, because I'm like, if anybody knows me, I'm total ADD. I can be a squirrel at times for sure. And I don't do residential real estate. So it will be interesting for me to share, probably in a community where most do residential real estate, where my space is land and development. So And when I thought about, what does that look like, or, what should today look like, I thought, well, I'm going to start with sharing my story, and then maybe that's going to parlay into, we can be talking a little bit about systems and trying to not burn out. So my journey began. So I've been in real estate for almost 29 years. I started my career in California. There, I spent like the first half of my career as in a role that was really unique and really awesome, where I was a consultant and I served as like a VP of sales and marketing for home builders. And typically, like your larger builders might have that VP of sales and marketing internally. They'll have their home marketing teams. But for small to mid-sized builders, usually that's a piece of their business that they don't necessarily have in-house. And so I got to consult with a lot of different builders and work on a lot of different projects. And in that role, I would work with the builders from before land was purchased all the way through the purchase of the land, working through entitlements and all that, do demographic research, what is going to be the best product to go on this land. And then from there, what's our approach going to be? Is there going to be, sales office? How many models? Who's our target avatar? In planning all that out, what's our logo, what's our branding, all those pieces, and then ultimately opening an event for the community, different ways to drive traffic throughout the week and on the weekends, staffing sales offices, and then all the way through the last home sold in the community. So it was a really great role. It gave me just such a awesome amount of knowledge and perspective on the industry. I got to wear a lot of different hats, and I loved it. And then 2007 hit, and we all kind of know where the market went in 2007. But for me, in 2007, that's when I had my first child. And so while the market wasn't the best, it was a really great time in my life because I became a mom. And so I thought, well, this is a really great time to sort of hang up the cleats and stay home with my family. In 2010, my husband and I decided to move to North Carolina. If you get to know me, you'll know I'm kind of an adventurer. We don't take a lot of time and process things. Sometimes we just when we get an idea, we go with it. And one day I told my husband that Raleigh just seems like a really great place to raise a family. I keep seeing it on every chart, move to Raleigh, move to Raleigh. And my husband worked from home. So I was like, why are we living in California? Why are we, running in this rat race right now when, maybe we could just be trying something different. And so without ever visiting North Carolina, we moved across the country with two children, a almost 2.5-year-old and a 1-year-old, and planted our roots in Raleigh. So now 16 years later, we're still here, and it was the best decision that we ever made. But along the way, here's how my journey in North Carolina has gone. In 2011, the day before Thanksgiving, unfortunately, we lost a child. I had a stillborn child. And so that was, we were here for a little over a year, didn't know a lot of people, and we're away from our family. And so that was a little bit of a dark and challenging time. But from that, I decided I started a nonprofit. Well, I started a ministry to help other moms walk through loss. And that ministry sort of evolved and grew and became what is now a nonprofit that I have called Covered in Love. And that is, I make blankets for moms who have walked through loss, and there are blankets that are like 2 pieces of fleece. The knots are tied together around the edges of the blanket. And with the blanket, there's a tag that just says, with the tying of these knots, prayers have been said for you. And I hope that you feel covered in God's love. So that's where the name Covered in Love came from. Well, fast forward a little bit into 2012, and a hospital locally had heard about these blankets that I was making and asked if I would, come to the hospital and speak with their board of directors, because they were looking at a different way to handle bereavement at the hospital and in the NICU or in the labor and delivery unit. And so I, went to this board meeting at the hospital. And I remember before walking in, I had kind of been out of the business world for a while at this point. And I just sat in my car for a bit and just thought, am I really about to walk into this hospital board meeting and, share this, ministry, which had just recently I'd started to turn into a nonprofit, which was really based on my faith. And I was going to go share this at a board meeting. It just felt, I don't know, I felt nervous, I guess I should say, and uncomfortable, but I trusted in the situation, and I went in the meeting. And I'm happy to say that I had, I think, like 30 minutes or 20 minutes on the agenda, I don't know, to talk about, my story and the blankets and what I do with Covered in Love. And the meeting actually, that 30 minutes turned into the rest of the evening, as people went around the table, and mostly, as this was like mostly a group of men on the board of directors, but people shared stories of loss. People opened up. It was just a crazy experience. And during that time, also one of the nurses from upstairs in the labor and delivery unit actually came down to the board meeting and said that they knew that I was here, and said that they had just lost a baby upstairs, and asked if I happened to have a blanket with me. And so I took the blanket that I had brought as a sample and gave it to the labor and delivery nurse, and she took it upstairs. The beautiful thing that came from Covered in Love is that, in HIPAA and rules like that, I can never know, who received the blankets. But I did have a link for people to reach out to me, and just the amazing stories that came from those experiences. I started a little, what do you call it, like a support group, I guess, where people could get together and come. And a lot of those moms from the hospital came and were participants in that support group. The other thing of that is I started having a website, and on the website I had it where people could order a blanket the same way, much like you would order flowers for somebody, and you would order the blanket, request who it's for, and then there was a space where you could do a special note, and I started shipping those out. Within a really short period of time, I had shipped to, I think it was up to like 37 states and 5 countries. I was not prepared for that. In my previous career, spent a lot of time on marketing and driving traffic and all of that. But man, oh man, when I guess when God is your marketing machine, like your information gets out there, because people came out of the woodworks, to the point where it expanded way beyond, and I found myself trying to have to put a lid on it at times because it got so big. But it was a beautiful thing. It was an incredible blessing. I still have it, and it's really helped me. But it's one of those things where I think when you set out to serve others and help others, sometimes that blessing really comes back, and it really helps us as well when we put ourselves, I guess, out on a limb like that. But what really Covered in Love did for me was it made me realize that I really missed adult conversations, and I really wanted to somehow get back into a business world of sorts. I didn't know what that looked like. I spent a lot of time in prayer. Now at this point, I'd been out of real estate for a few years, and it just felt like I didn't know where to start, because now I'm in a new state. I'm all the way across the country. I don't have the same connections. And I wasn't sure if I was ready to really like start over in that sense. And one night, as I was laying in bed, I felt this nudge to start a charter school. And I told my husband that I wanted to start a charter school. Now, a little side note, I guess my career, the very start of my career was I have a master's in educational psychology, and I was a teacher and a vice principal for a very brief period of time, before realizing that my passion lied elsewhere. But I thought, well, wouldn't this be like a full circle moment? Maybe God's putting this nudge on me. I'm supposed to start this charter school. And my husband, like he does so many times, other times, and when these ideas come to me, is like, go to bed. You're good. Go to bed. Like, that hamster starts running on the wheel, and he's super patient, but he's like, our kids wouldn't go to the charter school. I don't know why you do this. I'm like, I don't know. But you know what? Sometimes when you feel that nudge, and it's usually that nudge that makes you feel really uncomfortable, that's usually the nudge that's like, yeah, you need to do this. So fast forward to 12 plus years later, I did start a charter school. I have a charter school in a town in northeast of Raleigh, and I have 719 K through 8 students that attend that charter school, and that has just been an incredible journey. But what that journey led to, and sometimes I think when you walk out on that, you take that risk or you step out in faith, what happens is sometimes we don't even realize like what's in store for us. And it truly was God's nudge telling me to start this charter school, because what happened from this is that I right away became very close with the mayor and the commissioners, the stakeholders in the town. And I intentionally picked a town where I saw like a growth trajectory where it was headed, where maybe hi, that's my dog, sorry, but where a growth trajectory where, you could see the growth was headed there, but it was going to take time for like the schools to catch up and other services. And so through that relationship and through building that relationship with the town, I started talking to them about, well, what is your plan for your downtown? And, all this growth is headed this way. And a bypass was built that is built going around your town. And it took traffic off your main street. And so now that, 1 mile of Main Street is kind of like an abandoned, deserted town. And the mayor was told me, well, if we're going to put our town offices there, we're going to move our town hall there, and maybe some other things. And I was like, wrong. Like, nobody goes to the town hall, right? So if you want to really like reinvigorate your town and rebuild your town, you got to put some gathering space in the center of your town and start bringing your community back together. And sort of as like a challenge, and side note, the mayor and I became really good friends. He became like my North Carolina dad. He said, all right, well, why don't you go and you bring it to us and tell us what we need to do here. And so I was like, all right, challenge accepted. And so I went out and I talked to several developers. And by the time the first 4 that I talked to, I said, look at this, the town had a wonderful Main Street vision plan. They had this great idea of what they wanted their town to look like. And I said, look at this great plan. Wouldn't it be awesome if we formed a public-private partnership with the town who owns this corner 11 acres, and we built this amazing gathering space that started as this reconnection point for the town. And the first 4 loved it, would love to have done it, but in reality, needed banks to be able to love it too. And there just wasn't enough history. There wasn't enough, commercial in the town at all. The town was 92% residential tax base. So there really wasn't enough commercial base to justify or, for them to be able to get the financing they needed. But the 5th developer that I went to was able to do that. And they were in business for 40 years, had a lot of their own money, didn't have that concern, but saw that vision and embraced it. And so together, we formed a public-private partnership with the town, and we created a space that is 50,000 square feet of restaurants and shops and 180 apartments above. And the town center, it's called Cobblestone, but in the town center there's a lawn area in the middle, restaurant with a balcony over the lawn, just a place for the community to reconnect, where kids can be out playing, families can be, sitting at tables around at the various cafes or restaurants. What that little bit of development, that 11 acres on one corner started, was other developers and other people becoming interested in this downtown. And really within a short period of time, that 1 mile stretch turned into well over $250 million worth of development. And now, like I said, 12 years later in this town, I have been involved in over 200 acres of that redevelopment. And so what all of it really taught me, I think, is that I took my background, I took my experience, but I learned a new way to use some of those skills to build a business. And so now having that strategy and knowing that strategy works, I built a system in which I could take this, I call it reverse engineering of towns, and I can go to other towns and sort of plug and play, kind of rinse and repeat, starting at the beginning with relationships with the town, understanding Main Street vision, plans, future goals, and saying to them, you're at A and you want to be at Z, right? What do we need to do to get from here to here, from A to Z, and what's everything in between look like? And some towns are like, we've got it. And when you get to those towns, you're like, yep, those aren't my people. They're good. But other towns are like, oh, well, tell me, what could that look like? What do you think that looks like? And then that turns into meetings where we sit down and look at all the available parcels in the town. We look at how we can take that Main Street vision plan and lay out, what in an ideal world would the businesses look like around the town, what sort of subdivisions or development matches the demographic of the town, all of those pieces. So from there, that's where my journey is today. That's the system that I use for my business. And I wanted to take that and sort of talk to y'all today about scaling your own businesses without burnout. Because I think for me, doing something that I love, doing something that I'm passionate about, and having the right system in place has really been a key to, when I even say it's 12 or 13 years, it feels literally like it was just yesterday, because I love what I do. Every day is super exciting. And I get to do it with amazing people. And now I have, a group of agents that are not agents. They're like my bestest of friends. They're all on this call, I think. And we get to do it together, and it's an incredible way to do life. So we can head to the slideshow now. And I can say that when I think about, what I do and how to scale without burnout, I think some of the times I think about, when we go to real estate conferences, or we watch, YouTube videos or whatever, we see a lot of really big personalities on stages, and they're like, post 10 TikToks, make 100 cold calls before your cup of coffee in the morning, right? All of that. And if you're not doing that, maybe you're not doing enough. And I think the biggest thing and the most important thing is to implement like a system and a strategy that works best for you, for your personality, and for the lane of real estate that you're in and that you're trying to achieve. Because success isn't really like just a copy and paste, right? You can't just take someone else's system and expect it to work in your world. It's not going to match your DNA, and your business is ultimately going to reject it. So because when you use someone else's proven system, it's like using a roadmap that isn't yours, right? It's so I use this example here, and I say that if you see this, and the image kind of just made me laugh, because it's like you're using a map of Miami, right? So we have our friend here, and he's looking at a map of Miami, but he's standing in the middle of the swamp, right? And so think about that, and think about how that makes you feel, right? And how that would probably make you feel confused, make you feel lost, right? Every time you're looking at a road on the map or something on the map, it's like taking you on a turn where it should be the right turn to maybe head to Starbucks in downtown Miami, but what you're going to end up, I don't know, in the mouth of an alligator, right? So in this industry, I think we do this to ourselves constantly, because I think we try to take someone else's proven map. Maybe it's a high volume cold calling system. Maybe it's a door knocking blitz. And then we try to follow it. But because that map doesn't align with the actual terrain, it doesn't align with our personality, it doesn't align with how we would be best to do our business, and we end up committing kind of like an identity theft, right, against our own business. We start performing an act. We recite scripts that seem like a foreign language, and we try to force a connection that it's not authentic, right? It doesn't feel real. And I think that it's walking against, it's going against the way that we're supposed to be built to move. So the key to the business is finding the right map, right? And to find the right map, you have to look at the ground that you're actually standing in. So you have to identify two specific territories. So I say the first is the zone of flow, which is the zone of your genius, right? That's like your super highway, the high-speed highway. And that's the work that feels like play to you. It might look heavy to somebody else, but for me, that's the puzzle, the creativity that comes with designing and building towns. I love looking at Main Street vision plans. I love watching town council meetings. People think that's weird. I love designing and visualizing what can be there, and then taking the steps to get there. And but for others, that might be something different. You need to find what your flow is. The second thing is the zone of friction, and this is the zone of misery. Like that's that like swamp, right? This is where you're. This is the stuff that it's going to drain your battery, right? The moment you even think about it. For me, that would be cold calling, like a blind outreach. My strength is in building relationships, solving people's specific challenges, and partnering to find a solution. So if I tried to force a system that was about volume, high activity, reaching out, it would feel super unnatural, and I would be super uncomfortable. And I know that it wouldn't put me in a position where I would be successful. So the key is really focusing on the road ahead, right? In this industry, we can be so overwhelmed. We can get distracted by the shiny objects, right? Those roadmaps and systems work for somebody else. But when you follow a roadmap designed for a different city than you're in, you're just going to get lost, right? You're going to create friction because you're working against your own nature daily, and it's going to cause burnout, and it's going to weaken your chance for success. So to create that effective system, there's a couple pieces, right? The first one is obviously knowing that what is your zone of genius, right? What are the things that when you're in, that's your flow? And then it's identifying what is the friction, and then realizing what are the tools and resources that I need for both, right? Both of them are going to need tools and resources. Some of them might be resources I outsource, maybe like a transaction coordinator or something like that, if that's your friction. And then others are going to be things that are the tools and resources that you're going to need on your day-to-day. So eXp provides us with the top tools and resources. And so I thought for the rest of our morning today together, or my time with you, that I would share with you the tools and resources that work for me, how to get to them, how to access them. Because I think sometimes, the beauty of eXp is that it's so big, right? It's all this wonderful, this big virtual brokerage with all these different tools, resources, education, training, all of that. But that's only a beautiful thing or a good thing if you know how to access that, if you even know it's there, and then if you know how to access it. You don't need to use everything all at once, right? You're probably going to use very few tools at different seasons in your life. But the key is knowing that they're there and knowing how to access them. Because for agents today, eXp is truly the place where you can start your career from day one out of real estate school and get involved in FastCap and use Canva Pro for your marketing and designs and work with a mentor all the way through the most seasoned of agents that are with us. We started as sort of a brokerage for sort of the mid agent and beyond, right? Because we couldn't be something for everyone. And that's where for a long time, eXp was where the pros go to grow, right? Because people that were at the top of their career were coming over here and still having others that could mastermind and keep them growing. But now, after we brought in Brian Ellington, and everything that he's done with eXp University, and after several years of now all this growth that we've had, we're so operationally sound behind the scenes, and have all of those tools and resources that really will help everyone, again, from day one out of real estate school to the most seasoned agents. So the good news is, guys, we can be here. We're never going to outgrow eXp. I can promise you that. So I have a link to a document here, and then we can walk through this document. Let me see. I can put it in the chat, I think. Let's see. I can put it in the chat here. Let's see if that works for y'all. Does that work? Yeah, that's good. Okay. And so this first page of the document, what I did is I just put a bunch of the links and the resources that are available. And I thought if you guys want to take this and go through and click on all of those, definitely bookmark them and keep them, because I promise you there's so much information in there, and it will take a lot of time for you to someday go through it all, but it will be a great space, a great resource if you have them on your computer to start. Okay. So let's go through some of these and talk about, what they are and what they provide. So the first link is the eXp toolkits. Guys, over the last year, eXp has done such an amazing job of taking all of these areas where there might be an interest or a need for a knowledge base and turn them into, at current count, 32 different toolkits. There's literally toolkits for almost anything that you would need. So I would say to be sure to mark this, again, bookmark this link, but then also on it, subscribe to the toolkit, so that as new toolkits come out, as things change, you will be notified. But honestly, there's everything from new agent and onboarding through growth and attraction, working with buyers, working with sellers, and everything in between. And so take some time, I would say, go through those toolkits. And also, if you're a new agent, or even if you've been here for a while, you might want to go to that new agent toolkit, that onboarding toolkit. Our onboarding team that hosts live onboarding sessions all the time. You could jump on one of those. Maybe maybe you've never really worked out that kink, how when you go to sign on, you have an error, or maybe you've never even logged into your CRM that you chose. So going through that onboarding session is going to help make sure that all of the tools, your basic tools, are working and that you know how to access them. This one shows that Okta login. I don't know if it's OKTA or Okta. I just say Okta. But this is a quick way for you to access many eXp tools and resources kind of all in one place. This is your dashboard, and all of these tiles are going to lead to various things that you're going to need for various aspects of your business. One thing I'll point out on here is that if you click on the My eXp 3.0 tile, there is a link to a DISC assessment. And so I would suggest, if you haven't ever done it before, going on there and taking your DISC assessment, because understanding that profile, right, is going to allow you to maximize your efficiency. It's going to align your strengths, that flow, right, rather than have you fighting against those natural tendencies, that friction. Let's see, what's the next one here? The next is the eXp University page. And I purposely have the image to the left showing a drop-down menu, so that you can see that not only as eXp have all these wonderful courses and classes and training, they actually have kind of created different training paths. So if you're that brand new emerging agent, you're going to want to click on that and see, hey, what would I need to do? What should I be doing to be building my career here? And then on the other side, you see where it shows my courses. So it shows courses that you are enrolled in. And then down at the bottom, it shows any upcoming sessions of those courses that you're enrolled in. And the cool thing is you can just go right here and click on that link when it's time to join, and it'll take you right to that session. Next thing I wanted to point out is FastCap. FastCap for eXp truly has been a game changer. I mentioned that when Brian Ellington came over just shy of 2 years ago, he really took our brokerage and created that brokerage that really did now cater also to that brand new agent. And he did so by creating a class called FastCap. And Brian, for those that don't know, he was at Keller Williams years ago, and he was heavily involved in creating the Bold curriculum for Keller Williams. And one of the things that when he did that there, right, KW created this awesome training, awesome with Bold and maps, and he contributed to that. But what KW did was they took that training and they monetized it. So yes, they had wonderful training, but you had to pay as an agent for that training. When he came to eXp, our CEO said, I want you to build out eXp's version for the brand new agent, that training, that foundational training, but I don't want it to, we're not going to charge for it, right? This is included for everyone. It is it's a 6-week course. It's 1 hour, 3 times a week. So it ends up being 18 hours of class, with homework in between. And what I will say is it's not easy. I wouldn't just say, oh, I'm taking the 18 hours of class. No, the actual rubber hits the road learning happens in not the classes so much, but in that homework and in those steps you're being asked to do in between, right? That's where now you're getting in, building your CRM, making contacts, starting to build that sphere of influence, all those activities that are going to be so fun, so important and foundational as you're that new agent or agent looking for a refresh. Because guys, trust me, right? We all create bad habits. We all didn't maybe learn something the right way. I think FastCap truly could be for anybody to go back and just sort of do that reset. And another cool thing with FastCap that just happened now. So 2 things I'll say. One, statistically, they've tracked the statistics over the last 18 months or so since FastCap was launched. And in tracking the statistics of the agents that attended all the classes, did all the homework, actually graduated from FastCap, those agents are graduating with an average of 6 appointments and 3 agreements coming out of FastCap. So those are crazy, incredible numbers. And especially, I think if we kind of just think about where even our industry's been over the last 18 months, right? It's not those days where we were kind of fishing in a barrel. So I think that's an incredible, incredible testament to the course and to what eXp has designed and provided for us. Another cool thing is that just recently, eXp launched something super exciting that for the agents that complete FastCap, again, do the homework, show up for class each time and graduate, those agents are going to receive realty.com leads for 1 year. So now you can take all these great fundamental pieces and start building your business. Let's see the next slide. I got my slide girl over here. It's on something different than she's showing, right? You guys still see FastCap? You guys still see FastCap, right? Okay, hold on 1 second, because I think
Currently, we don't see anything,
I
Lisa.
think she got shut out of
You
Zoom.
have to stop sharing sometimes and go back to the new page.
Yeah, maybe
frustrating.
stop and go back. Let's try it that way, right? She fell out of Zoom, I think. That's no worries. Okay, hold on, guys. I'm going to share. Let me share here for a minute. Let's see here.
Lisa, while you're doing that, has anybody on the call taken FastCap?
That's a good question, Peggy. Thank you.
I've taken it with my new agents.
And tell us about it. What were the results?
Not a good question for me because my husband hasn't done much. He's just there for me to do open houses, but I have a new agent taking it right now.
Okay.
And it's her first transaction she just did for herself, bought a house. So she's pretty busy, but it's a lot of great results on the call. So I'm hanging in there.
That's so good. And 2 things that I really want everyone to walk away with on this is that there's no cost to this. When I was a team leader at KW for years, over 16 years, part of my job was to get agents who were brand new, struggling to sign up for Bold, to do all these classes, to put out all this money. It was a really hard sell. And the material was there, the information was there if they followed it. But like anything, putting out in money when you're just getting started is not an easy thing to do. So to be at a company now that has the person who basically wrote these curriculums at the other companies that were successful, to be able to say, we're investing in you and there's a reward at the end is unheard of in this industry.
Well, they're actually getting realty.com leads now.
Oh, they're getting them right away.
They're getting them now, and now they put they put a caveat, if you're not putting in your information in Sisu, they'll take you out of realty.com.
Okay.
So,
So
but it's a great opportunity for people. People have been getting connections right away with realty.com. My new agent has been able to connect with one person right away. It's hard because they put it out there and you have to,
you got to jump on it.
jump on it.
You got to
So,
jump on it. And if you're an agent who needs a kickstart,
absolutely.
get back in and do
Get
that.
back in good habits. Yeah.
Yep.
Very
Excellent.
good.
So I just want to throw my 2 cents in. I have somebody doing it right now, and I'm not sure how successful he's being. So I think I have to take it. I'm going to take it because I want to see, why he's not really. I don't know. I mean, he loves the idea of the realtor.com and he's dedicated to doing it. It's funny that you said it was the bold instructor that created it. I didn't realize that, but when I first got introduced to it, I thought, oh, this sounds like bold. And yeah,
Yeah.
so I think I'm going to have to pop in there and take it myself. I think it would be really helpful for me
Yeah.
to help the people that are working with me to do it.
And keep them accountable. I mean, just as you as their team leader, and that's what I'm trying to do is have Monday meetings with my new people. So just kind of a stand-up meeting. Hey, how you doing? How are the leads? What are you following up? Just doing that. But Lisa's back on track. So
Perfect.
Perfect timing.
Excellent. Lisa
So
Kane, you really
I
a lot of.
I think we're back, right? I
Okay.
think we're on, let's see, slide 12, I think. Let's see. Yes, I think we're here. Everyone's back. Are we back? Yay,
Yep.
look at that. So the next thing that I have on the list is the hub. And so the hub is like our own internal Facebook, right? For a while we had Workplace. Workplace went away because Meta sunsetted it, and then came Slack. And I know that Slack it wasn't really a one-for-one replacement, right? So a lot of people were upset, and a lot of agents said this isn't really working, didn't feel that sense of community. And what I love about EXP is that when we as agents speak up, our corporate listens, right? Our brokerage listens, and they said, okay, so Glenn Sanford himself, locked himself in a room, he says, and he built the hub. So the hub is like our own internal Facebook. It's a lot more like how Workplace was, a way where you can connect with other agents. You can also get training resources, materials, join community groups, like-minded common interest groups. But the really cool thing that you can use the hub for too is the connection of agents across the country. And so the ability to be able to find agents for referrals and for agents to find you to be available for referrals by, posting in some of these various groups. The other thing is you'll have, your local state group. And for your local state group, it's good because your managing brokers are going to post about in-person events and trainings, things like that. Also, they're going to post like, is someone available? Some agent might post in there, is someone available for an open house in whatever city? So that's another great way we can jump in and be able to start doing open houses if that's on, one of the ways that you want to build your business this year. The next slide is that you can even use the hub. And there's on the left-hand side, there's a icon or a link that you can click on to send messages. And so this is a great way where you can send a direct message to staff, to your managing broker, right? Sometimes people say, I don't know how to, reach my managing broker, or I don't know where to go when I have a question. So hub would be a really great way. It's familiar to most of us. I think most of us have been on Facebook, so it's pretty intuitive. And so we can go on there, send a message to a managing broker, and that's a great way to communicate. The other great way to communicate with managing broker or other staff at eXp is through eXp World. And I know sometimes you're like, I'm afraid to go in eXp World. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to navigate. I'm going to crash into walls. I've been there, done that. I was that person for a long time. But once I went in eXp World, I thought, man, oh man, I'm missing out on a lot of really great tools and resources. So I would suggest going on to eXp World. You're going to land in this sort of welcome center. full of kiosks, all different all different, kiosks that tell you, sorry, my phone, interactive, informational. But one cool thing is there's one that tells you the days and times for world tours. So you might want to pop back in at one of those days and times and take a tour of the world so you can really learn how to navigate. But in the meantime, there is a drop down list where it has go to. And you can, once you click that, there's a lot of different spaces you can navigate to. I'll just highlight one, agent support. When you go and go over agent support, these tiles come up here out to the right. And these are a lot of the different rooms that you might need to go in for things that are going to help in your day-to-day business. Maybe you have a transactions question, a tech question. You can just quickly go on that and teleport to those places. Another link that's within the agent support is something that will take you to the infosphere. The infosphere is this awesome virtual trade show. And when you enter it, there's just kiosks and displays all throughout it. You could really truly get lost in it, but you could take some time and go and walk around. And it's a great way, again, to see the tools and resources available at eXp. A lot of the kiosks are interactive. And also, it's a great space to see who are our different vendor partners. There's a whole area of different eXp vendor partners. Mira, I'll touch on briefly. That's a new addition to us. This is a site that we can go to that takes eXp's language, right? Some of our proprietary language and data and systems, and it allows us to ask questions about our own business, about things that are related to eXp, and it can answer us. And it's available in English, Spanish, and French. So you can use this to ask questions like, where am I towards my cap? How many FLQAs do I have? And you can also use it to navigate, just like we can use the Okta login to navigate to a lot of different tools and resources with one single sign-on. Finally, I just want to point out this vending machine. I call it the vending machine. It's the tech stack and resources that are available. We pay that $85 a month fee, right? And I always say that $85, like you're depositing that every month with eXp into that vending machine. That $85 is only worth something if you're actually then taking withdrawals and using things out of that vending machine. You can access this this list of resources I put it as one of the links on this sheet. So you have that. But also, if you go to the growth and attraction toolkit, you will find that there is a link also there. But what's cool about the document, when you actually go to it through one of the links, is that all of the items inside of this vending machine are hyperlinked. So you can click on any of those and it will take you off to another page that's going to tell you more about what is that resource, what does it provide for you? So in the end, right, like just like that map of Miami, it's not going to help in Everglades. And so we have to think what for our business is going to be the right map, the right tools that are going to help me in what I do in my day-to-day. I think sometimes we try to run or we try to do someone else's race instead of our own. So I would say define your genius, right? What is your zone of genius? That flow, what feels good? What's your zone of misery? Where is that friction, right? And create your systems. And then within those systems, use this incredible warehouse of resources that eXp provides for you to build a business that fits you. And I say it's definitely going to be easier, right, if we all try to reach our destination traveling on this really well-paved highway versus trying to, meander our way down a really muddy cliff.
Lisa, this was excellent. I thank you so much. Everything is just put right there. I do want to open it to questions or comments. What are you guys using? What's your go-to? Is anybody, Watson, you have your hand up. Let's see, we've got to unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good morning.
I got a screenshot and I'm a little embarrassed. I've been at eXp for so many years, I didn't know half of this. I never got to it. And I really attest to what you were just saying, Lisa, about I take some very good notes, and I forgot my carbo pad here with me. Whenever I put the carbo pad, guess what? It got power. It's the
Or
anointing in it. And
I love it.
I just so appreciate you, Lisa, for your story. We sure miss a good California girl. Come back someday. Thank you.
Thank you. It was so great meeting you in Cabo too,
Oh,
Watson.
yeah, thank you for your what you call it, your life story. That's more important than anything else because of your mission in life, you've driven so many about your school, your city, and your involvement, taking care of people. That's all the heart that you carry, and that shows. And just so thankful for coming in. And Peggy, I don't know how you locate this nice lady. Thank you for your hard work. Yeah, such a
they show
blessing.
up just
Hey,
like you.
thank you, Lisa. I'm sorry to jump right in. Somebody asked for the link to Eva's meeting today. I put it in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
How to
That's
connect
great.
with you, Lisa, by the way? Would you ever give us your contact information?
Oh, sure. Let me put it in the chat right now. I'll put my
Please.
cell phone in there.
As a sidebar, FYI, we're going weekly instead of every other week, and we're switching days. We'll announce that starting April.
Wow, good. Great. I'm excited about that.
Tony and Jake, you know them from Climber? They're going to do a 10-minute piece on our calls on AI and such. So there'll be a little AI piece.
Wonderful. Love that. Anybody else got any questions? You know,
There's a lot of AI training in the university, guys. It's amazing.
Agreed. Yes. Hmm.
Just have to implement.
That's right.
The
And by the
class,
way, I took
I
some,
took the class. I
I
took the
took the
fast
record.
cap.
Yeah,
It's good.
sorry.
And you need to not just, it's 3 hours a week, but you have to build in some time to do the homework, which I didn't do. And there's some excellent homework.
which class was that, Annie?
That's cap.
Fast cap.
Fast cap.
Oh,
Fast cap,
Fast
yeah.
Cap. Yeah. I think that's
You've
a
got to
neat.
build some hours in to get it done. You do. And the
That's good.
homework helps you build your business. It builds the systems that you're going to use daily with your
Yep.
clients.
I mean, we have so much. You just have to ask. And when you go to, don't forget, with jeanfrederick.com, our new website, Leslie
Suarez.
of putting together little short training and clips, and you can sign up to make sure you're using the right CRM. So many things out there. Annie, you wanted to tell these also? That's important.
Say that again. Ask it again.
Would you tell people how to subscribe to Wake Up Wednesday?
Yep. Yep. And it's at the top of the chat. I'll put it in again how to not only subscribe. So if you miss one, it'll just automatically send you a link to watch the next one that you might have missed, which I did last week. It was awesome. And then the other one is subscribing so you get reminded, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, oh, it's tomorrow. And if you're on your phone, you just click the link and go, and you can be on here.
Uh, could you send that again?
Yes, I just put it out there.
Okay, thank you.
So I'd love some feedback, you guys. I know a lot of people are off camera, which is great, but if you could unmute yourself, what you thought, what you learned, any takeaways.
And I did put my cell phone in the chat. So if anybody has questions, or I know it's a lot, right? It's a lot to process, a lot to take in, definitely reach
I
out.
totally appreciate what you did, Lisa. Thank you, Peggy, for having her on. I always try to have a special note in my phone and computer for links because people give you links and you forget where you put them. So I have a special note, EXP links, expert
Beautiful.
partners links, honey badger links, just
Yeah.
so
Love
that
it.
I don't go, oh shoot, where did I put it? So I added yours at the very top because you have a lot more than I did before because I have one for my new agents for what they can do at university and FastCap and all that. So I appreciate everything you've done, and your talk, of course, was excellent. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, my
Steve,
friend.
you got your hand up there.
Yes, I just wanted to jump in with I'm an ERA agent, and I'm in the process of moving to eXp exactly because of this.
Wow.
ERA has nothing like this that would help support me as a realtor.
Thank
And
you so
they do
much.
absolutely nothing compared to this. I'm hooking up with Annie to get on board relatively soon.
Welcome.
Wonderful.
Welcome.
Wonderful. Well, welcome. Keep coming back. We're so glad. That was really nice of you to jump in and say that. Great, guys. Well, we're at the top of the hour. Anybody else got something they want to say real quick? Lisa, really good.
Well,
Really,
thank you, my friend.
Just a big thank you.
really good. Realty.com leads. Excellent. Well, we will see you guys next week. Share the replay, get people to join Wake Up Wednesday. I appreciate everybody on the call. And Lisa, the other Lisa, she's Lisa Harris, there she is. Thanks for running the slideshow right next to
You
Lisa.
guys, it's systems, right? It's systems. That is not my strength.
Well, let me tell you, you did pretty good. So
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Peggy.
Thank you,
Have a great
Peggy.
day.
thanks,
Thanks,
everybody. I'll
Lisa.
see you next week.
Thank you.
God
Bye.
bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Really great, Lisa. Nice job.